15 years. He had this to say.
Why do you want to be the face of a league when all the people that that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis on everybody? I mean, that responsibility is just weird. It's weird energy from the people that I don't know. But Channing, he said it. He said it perfectly.
Okay. All these people who cover the league. I may not talk about the NBA as much as Stephen A., but I talk a lot about it, and I have big platforms, okay? I've been critical of LeBron James twice in his career. I thought his first year in Los Angeles, he was distracted. It was like business more than basketball. He didn't like the roster. I get it. And the Bronny thing feels forced to me, but, I had one rant on that. Savannah and LeBron are great parents. But the NBA actually, the players have the most power, and because of that, even their coaches walk on eggshell with stars. They don't get hard coaching in AAU basketball. It's more of a circus than a developmental league. And there's one show in the NBA that is very critical of the players occasionally. It's more of an entertainment vehicle. That's the Inside the NBA. That's it. And it's often better than the games. It wins the most awards, and it's easily the most watched. Lamar Jackson wins 76% of his games, and the commentary on him is ruthless. Messi, in his search for his first World Cup, brutal. Like death threat stuff, like brutal. So the NBA media, outside of one show, I would say, is mostly fawning. So this idea that everybody picks on the NBA players have so much power, starting in AAU basketball, everybody walks on eggshells around him. I mean, Mahomes gets ripped. Josh Allen gets ripped. Lamar Jackson gets ripped. Justin Herbert gets ripped. Everybody in the NFL gets ripped. The majority of things that were critical, like guys like me are critical about the NBA, Adam Silver is actually critical of and is concerned about, like the load management stuff. And LeBron himself has been critical of something there's too many damn threes.
A bigger conversation. It's not just the All-Star game. It's our game in general. Our game it's a lot of threes being shot. Mm-hmm. So it's a bigger conversation, just the All-Star game.
So LeBron is addressing my primary criticism of the league. Load management's bad for fans. There's too many threes. And Jason Tatum is the one player in the NBA that wants to be the face of the league, but the truth is he doesn't have the aura or the charisma. He's just a great player. It's not hate, just being honest. It's just being honest. So I don't buy this nonsense that I would argue that the football culture in America, the coaching's tougher and the media is much harsher. Even in college football, players get death threats in college football when they drop passes and miss kicks. That's not happening a lot in college basketball. It doesn't happen in AAU. It doesn't happen in the NBA. So let's stop this whole, Barkley is so... I watched that show last night. It's a comedy show. That's what that show is. It's a comedy show that sometimes is willing to poke some of the NBA superstars gently in the ribs. Gently. So I don't think Brock Purdy is Joe Montana, and I don't think the Inside the NBA show is turning people off. I don't buy it. I would argue negative opinions. I mean, if you go look at the algorithms of YouTube, Facebook, negativity helps popularity. I mean, who's president for the second time? The most polarizing person who the media attacks 24/7. I mean, the media except for the network called Fox, media attacks our president. That makes his followers more strident. So the idea that criticism hurts a rating, I would argue when you're critical of somebody, it makes people defend them to a greater degree. And I just don't buy that the NBA media, I think it's pretty fawning, by and large. Coming up next, and for the record, what did I lead my show with for the third time this week? How great LeBron is. All right, I know I'm not Barkley, but, I got a few followers. Coming up next, we'll go to the NFL Combine with one of the guys that I think does as good a job as anybody in the country. His dad was a former coach. He'll join us live from Indy on breaking down players. You can go back and look at his thoughts and picks. He doesn't miss much. We'll go to Indy next. Live in L.A., it's The Herd. That Travis Hunter said he wanted to play 100% of the snaps. He wants to go both ways. So when NBA guys want the night off, Travis Hunter's like, I don't want to snap off. It does matter. But, I was thinking about this, is last year, 12 million people watched the first round of the draft. That was better than the NBA Finals that had Jason Tatum and the big brand Celtics. Why? How is that possible? How is the beginning of a career? By the way, the first round is long. You sit there for 10 minutes waiting for picks. It's people on phones. It's highlights from their college careers. It got 12 million viewers. That's beating stuff like, like big bowl games. That's beating the NBA Finals with the Celtics in it. And I think the reason is, and this is why the WNBA draft last year was more interesting than the NBA draft, stories. I mean, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese came into the league. They had stories. Baker Mayfield came into the league. He had a story. Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, Carter, the defensive end for Penn State. You got to follow all these guys. And I think, I really do, the draft is in late April, and it's getting monster numbers. And this is why I've said for years, college basketball is the NBA's ally. It is their best friend. And Adam Silver, when he first got that job, saw him as the enemy, and the G League hurts the NBA. It hurts the NBA. The players disappear and then end up on bad teams. I have no story. I have no visceral connection at all. So the truth is, Colorado wasn't even a good team. And yet Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter come into this league. This program 3 years ago was the worst in college football. But because guys stay in college, because the NFL's always understood the power of college football, I can't wait to watch it. I don't know how Travis Hunter's going to do. I don't know how Shedeur's going to do, but I'm into their stories. I said it this year. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, I knew the first 7 people taken in the WNBA draft. Do you remember the first player taken in the NBA draft? Unless you're like a diehard. It was a French guy, I think. And I'm a sportscaster. I mean, it just didn't have any impact. I didn't want to watch it. I didn't care. I knew he wouldn't have an impact. He goes to a bad team. It wouldn't matter. Okay. So Lance Zierlein has worked been working the NFL draft for 25 years at NFL.com. He does about as good a job as anybody in this country. I am sitting on his draft previews the minute he starts writing them. So I want to talk about this, about Shedeur Sanders. Yesterday, Daniel Jeremiah came on the show and he said, what is his great trait?